true. All right, we're all here. Are we ready to go?
Yep.
Go, Gogs.
The barn is in the beef.
The beef.
Old beef barn.
Welcome to Movie the Podcast. That's right, Movie the Podcast. It is the second week. Give me.
I'm getting some real. Are you mocking gods, or is there a horrible echo?
No, that's me.
Do I really sound like that? Is that what this is all about? It doesn't matter. Anyway,
hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, so it's the second
down here
week.
to Movie the Podcast.
Yeah, check it out.
It's
So,
me, Movie. I'm the movie for Movie and the Podcast.
The
Sound like-
Rangers suck this year. You don't want to take the Rangers.
yeah.
You guys sound like Lemmy singing Triple
Mafia.
H's theme song.
I'm trying to do the other guy. What's the?
Pharrell?
What's going on with the Rangers this year? That guy. What's his name?
Are you talking Scott Farrell?
Yeah.
Oh, God,
Check
that guy.
Check it out.
I used to
That guy
listen to that
sucks.
Yeah.
Even if his voice wasn't annoying, he is the worst takes.
Yeah.
I like the
guy.
Mets
Is he
this
still-
year to
is
take
he
it
still
all.
on the radio?
He used to be on still
He was on
overnight. I'd hear him late night
Oh.
on 105.7. He was like, because after a certain time they just broadcast the national whatever,
Yeah.
and he would be on there all the time. Now it's some other guy. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, because
He was awful.
he
And then they
was
have
on-
Amy Lawrence overnights, and she has horrible takes about everything.
he was on Sirius for a while. He was on the Howard Stern channel. And like I used to think his show was so distracting because he'd play like music at like the same level that
Oh,
he
yeah.
talked.
He'd constantly have music like in the background.
And it's like I can't like
We also had like that wild stream of consciousness, like you couldn't follow the thread.
well,
like,
I can't imagine listening to listening to somebody talk and the music is at the almost the same level as you're speaking. How the hell am I supposed to focus on what you're saying?
it's
And
like
his-
he went to DJ school at a strip club.
well, his
Like, he's just-
argument was like it's like a sports bar. Like it's like no,
Well-
but it's not though. Like it
I hate sports bars too.
Yeah, you know
I
my
don't
favorite
want
thing
to
about
talk and watch sports. I want to
you know
watch
my favorite
sports.
thing about going to a bar? It's not being able to hear my friends talk. That's my favorite. Like what?
Yeah.
That's terrible. Anyway, what do we watch this week?
Well,
Dude,
welcome
Pharrell.
back to Movie the Podcast. That's Movie and the Podcasts.
Yeah.
We're here. It's Gimme September Lovin'. The song actually showed up. This is a Bruno Kirby
Yeah.
appreciation space now for
Yeah.
two back-to-back Bruno Kirby films.
And I think this is at least I'm gonna go ahead and say for me anyway. This is a Barry Levingston redemption arc for me.
Yeah. He came
How bad
back.
not to bury the lead, but how bad did this movie make you want home spaghetti? Like I
Yeah.
wanted house spaghetti.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
I mean,
Guys, you have it every week. You don't.
yeah, I'm having pretty normally, so I'm not lacking for home spaghetti. But no, we watched.
if you were
Sleepers.
smart, you'd plan your spaghetti night a different night than your parents' spaghetti night, so you could have spaghetti 2 nights a week.
I could have as many as 4 spaghetti dinners in 1 week if I really planned it out.
Yeah,
That would
I don't
make-
like
that
that.
would
I don't
make-
like the idea of Gogs
that would
having
make-
two
yeah.
spaghetti dinners in 1 week.
Yeah, Mr. Van Houten would be very upset about this. But anyway, we watched Sleepers, a real feel-good film about childhood friends
Gogs
just really getting it done.
Gogs beat my joke. I was waiting to say. I'm glad we watched something lighthearted this week.
Yeah.
You know, finally.
Just a real chuckle fest. Sleepers, starring
Like I knew once we picked this movie that Alec wasn't gonna like it.
as soon as I said the soundtrack slaps, but the score sucks, I don't think they played another actual song the rest of the movie. I was like, oh, it was like 4 songs. That
Right,
I really
the
liked, and that
soundtrack,
was it.
Right in the beginning, yeah.
the soundtrack rules in all the 60s flashbacks, and then the 80s
Yeah.
is just kind of ambient.
There's
I guess
there's
that's
some
true. Yeah, I didn't
there's
really
some
think about
tracks like in the background, but yeah.
Anywho,
Anyway, we watched Sleepers.
we watched Sleepers.
It's a movie about diddling.
certainly not about sleeping good.
No,
No.
no.
More about
no,
being
no.
wide the fuck awake.
And horrifying. But more about that
Yeah.
later. Like fucking terrifying movie. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like scarier than most horror movies. That
I think there was when whoever picked this, there's a line I mentioned
I
from
picked
this
it,
movie. Yeah, last week, and like it's still fucking like chilling when the line is said in the movie for me.
I mean,
Was
we'll
it
get
you kids are softer than a loaf of bread?
No, that was actually kind of sexy. I meant the four scared boys praying for help to Father Bobby's God that never came.
God,
Yeah.
yeah.
And talk about like a fucking knockout cast in a movie.
Yeah, we'll get into it. The acting is amazing. There's a scene in this movie where like the guard is finally like grilled and admits it. They're all like tearing up, and it's like, my God.
Oh, the
so
Warden
good.
McManus.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so good.
Warden McManus.
All right. Anyway, what do y'all watch this week? Alec.
I didn't watch anything.
Oh my
Face.
God.
I finally finished. We just finished it like 20 minutes ago. Finished The Wire.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
And,
what do you think about the 5th season?
The 5th season kind of sucks.
You're
Not
right.
great.
That is
It's not
correct.
very good. One of the weaker seasons.
I don't give a shit about the newspaper, and the newspaper storyline I felt like didn't tie in. Like every other season had like you had the cops and something else that all kind of tied together. The newspaper didn't, except for the guy, the reporter who lied, who is supposed to. I'm assuming he's supposed to be that guy from the New York Times. I can't remember his name, but just flat out was making up stories on Oprah.
The shattered glass guy.
Yeah, like on Oprah. He was on Oprah. He was like one of her big guys, and like then it came out that he made up like half the shit that he wrote about. But season
Daniel
5 is
something.
maybe I'll look it up after.
Okay.
I'll look it up in a minute. Overall, the show like absolutely slaps. Like it's so good, and everybody's so good in it. Like I'm not breaking any new ground here.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But that 5th season, I felt like all the newspaper stuff was essentially just kind of filler.
Yeah.
Like they should have just made it a shorter season,
Like,
which it was anyway. I think it was only 10 episodes, and the other ones were all 13. Like make it 8 episodes, or like I don't know. But the newspaper stuff, every time the newspaper stuff came on screen, I pretty much was just like tuned out.
Like I
waiting.
love
You doubled up on Bunk this week, then, huh?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
Little Caesar.
I think that like I like the 4th season a lot, but I think the 3rd season is definitely my favorite one in that whole series.
The first is mine, I think.
Would you
It's hard
say
it's hard to argue because they're all so good. The 4th one is, I feel like, the hardest hitting.
It
Yeah.
really is. That's true.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but it definitely has more impact than the other ones.
so? You would say it lived up to
emotionally.
the hype.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody doesn't think that, like, they got to be super jaded or cynical. Like, it definitely, like, I mean, it came out like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's
God.
still like, and the themes they deal with and the stuff they deal with is still all the shit that Baltimore City deals with 20 years later. Like,
Oh yeah, it hadn't gotten any better. That's for
not
sure.
like, not like one bit,
Nope.
which is pretty sad to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
Have
you watched that other? I know it's like not really related, but have you watched the John Bernthal Baltimore cop show on HBO? It's good.
No, that's probably gonna be the next thing we watch. It has Marlowe in it. He plays like the district attorney or something.
Yeah, I finished it. It's really good. I think you'll like it. It's not Wire level. I don't want to like get you. I don't want to oversell it, but it's very good.
Like
everything I've heard about it is that it's like it's very good. So like I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah,
and it's like only a couple episodes, right?
Yeah, it's
like
pretty short. Yeah, it's pretty short.
I think what's a real testament to The Wire, like how good the actors were in that show, is that like when you see interviews or like you see them behind the scenes, like hanging out as like friends, like you see like Marlowe and like oh shoot, now I can't think of his name. God damn it, the guy who kills drug. No, the guy who kills drug dealers.
Oh, Omar.
Like we see them hanging out like at Chaps Pit Beef, like joking around. You're like, oh my god, they're like real people. Like
you
they're
don't see
so
them
good.
anymore.
Well, yeah, but like they're such good actors. Like it's kind of they really sold it. They really made you believe. I love that fucking show.
That really made me mad the way Omar got.
Yeah,
I was like, he deserved to go out on his terms. Not
that dude. Was it Michael K. Williams?
Michael
K.
Williamson, I think.
Rocked. Like so.
Yeah.
Did
Interesting character too. I guess based on a real guy.
Did anyone watch Boardwalk Empire? Because he was really good in that too.
I watched a little bit of that. He was good in it.
He was really good in that show.
He's good in Community. He plays a teacher for like half a season.
Oh, I've never seen. I never.
It's really funny because like, especially now watching this, because like he drops like all his like Omar lines in there in Community, and I think it's kind of funny. He's like, man's got to have a code when he's talking about like cheating on tests instead of like hunting down drug dealers.
It's funny. Anyway, anything else?
That's all I watched. TJ.
I watched 2 movie things and I watched the TV thing I want to talk about briefly.
Okay.
2 TV things. I watched 1 episode of the Lord of the Rings show. Well, I tried to. I fell asleep. Yeah, I don't know. That's all. I got to rewatch the Lord of the Rings show. It's kind
I
of
started the first episode, but I got
it's kind of dry. It's
not woke enough, apparently.
It's not woke enough. And there's no titties, so it's hard
There's no
for me to.
titties in any Lord of the Rings. Why would you expect it in this?
I know, but that leads into my next show. I watched all of the episodes of House of Dragon.
Ew, why?
And I'm back, baby. Game of Thrones is back, baby. Yeah. No, it's good. It's actually very good.
Hard pass.
But you know
Don't
how
care.
it ends. Who
No, you
gives
don't.
a shit?
It's like 200 years before all that shit. I don't care.
Yeah,
I
know
love
it's
it.
gonna happen. They're all gonna die.
I don't care. Everybody dies,
Oh.
baby. Woo! I'm back. Game of Thrones is back, baby. It's
You're
good.
setting yourself up for heartbreak.
It's I
I hope it ends just like Game of Thrones ended, just to ruin your
Well,
viewing pleasure.
beaten off and wise isn't part of it anymore. So I don't know, man. I'm telling you, the first 4 episodes are pretty damn good. And
I cannot take Matt Smith serious in anything.
Nah, he's good in it.
Have sex.
He doesn't dance though. I wish he did. I wish he did more of his dance.
They should just sing that song in there.
Morbid time.
He doesn't sing the song. He doesn't dance.
Boo.
He's good in it though. It's a good show. It's a solid show. I'm back in. I'm way in, baby. I'm back. I'm back in the Game of Thrones saddle again.
Ugh.
People kept telling me it was good. I didn't believe it. Then I watched it. And I was like, fuck, they're
Could
right.
not be less interested.
It's very good. You should watch it.
Will not.
And then I watched the Batman over again.
You love that movie, huh? I still gotta watch it.
This is the 3rd time I've watched it. Yeah, I think I like it more than just about anybody. Like, I really like it a lot. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. I just really enjoy that movie. I don't know. There's just something about it. Like, it scratches the Batman itch that I want. Like, I don't think it's perfect and there is problems with it, but there's just something about it. I don't know. I dig everything. I dig the tone. I dig the look. I really like the Patterson's Batman. I like how it's not really about Bruce Wayne. Like, there's just a lot of stuff about it that I like. Yeah, I like I said, it's the 3rd time I've watched it, but I continually find things to like about it. So it's very long. I don't disagree with that, but yeah, I still really like it. And then the last thing I watched is something that I watched right before Showtime. I watched the movie Take a Shot. When TJ watches a Shudder original, they fucking make every goddamn new horror movie.
Do they make them or are they just distribute? Is it like a Netflix thing where they're picking up movies and just distributing them?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it's like a Netflix thing in it that I think it's like a 50-50 thing. Because I'm pretty sure that movie I watched a couple weeks ago, Watcher, I think that was produced internationally and then distributed by Shudder. But I think this was like produced by Shudder. So I watched a movie called Hellbender. It's really, really good.
Is it a blend? Is it half Hellraiser, half Airbender?
No. It's a very low budget movie. And I will say that the thing that holds this movie back from being like a 5 out of 5 for me is that it's funny, we talk a lot about movies and their budgets and like how you can tell they're cheap. And I think one way that we don't really bring up enough is a lot of times when you have low budgets, you can't hire good actors. And this movie suffers from what I like to call Gran Torino syndrome, where like the main actors are really good, but the side actors are awful and they kind of take you out of the movie. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So Hellbender is it's basically about this mother and daughter and their witches. And the mother is basically they live out in the woods, out in the middle of nowhere. And the mother is like trying to shield her daughter from like the outside world. She tells her daughter that she has some kind of immune disease and she can't be around people. And then the daughter kind of stumbles on the secret that she's a witch. They call them hellbenders, but it's basically a witch. And then the daughter, like, then it becomes kind of interesting because it becomes like this thing where the mother and the daughter, like, you know, as she learns about her like witch powers, like the mother is kind of envious of her. And then you find out that like witches, like they don't just like phase out. Like the daughter has to kill the mother, and it's fucking wild. And there's a lot of like cool, like crazy visuals, and like I kind of like the idea that they kind of push where these things, it's kind of like a almost like an X-Men kind of thing where they act like these witches are just like another, they're like an animal like outside of humanity, or like an evolutionary stage of humanity, which is kind of always, I think, kind of a fun trope. But it's really good. The mother and the daughter are fantastic. But man, the other actors in this movie are bad. Like they're real bad, and it takes you out of the movie. And some of the, like, a lot of the visuals are great, but then it's funny with special effects. It only takes one Scorpion King rock monster to be like, oh, that looks like dog shit, to make the rest of the movie look bad. That's what this does. Like, there's a lot of cool little effects in this movie, but there's a few that are like, ooh, yeah, you should have scrapped that one. That one looked kind of shitty. But overall, it's an 8 out of 10. It's a solid movie. I highly recommend it. It's only an hour and 22 minutes long. Also, the mother and daughter are in a band, which I think is kind of fun. Like they, in their spare time, they make music, which is cool. Minor complaint, they make the music that they make diegetic, but like the music is way too produced for two people in a basement. But that's besides the point. But it's a cool ass movie.
What a weird hill to die on.
Well, it's just weird because it's like okay, they're not producing this. Like, there's too much shit going on. Like, I don't know, if they're gonna do that, just make it sound like Scott Pilgrim.
6-track mixer? I don't think so.
Well, what I'm saying is that, like, when, like, you know, in Scott Pilgrim, you could believe that they're playing that music, but like this is like there's just too much shit going on.
Well, they have witchcraft powers. Maybe their powers are production.
You know what? Actually, not a bad explanation. They give me a drop line of that, and I'd be like, all right. But overall, a very creative movie, definitely worth your time. I really enjoyed it. There's just little tiny things that I would like to fix. I said it on Facebook, but this is actually a movie where I wouldn't mind a remake. Like if you gave the filmmakers like a bigger budget to basically remake this movie, kind of like an Evil Dead 2 situation. Or an El Mariachi situation, because
it's a strong proof of concept.
It's really good, like it's solid, and again, the movie is carried by the two leads, especially the girl, the daughter, is really really good, and there's like some really great tense moments. It's just that, you know, there's just every time there's something awesome that happens, and there's like a really great like ending sequence, but like there's also like stuff that's like you see that and you're like that looked kind of dumb, or like a character talks to the main characters and you're like, did you guys just hire this guy at like a gas station down the street? Because it's like it's real bad. Like I mean, we've seen it 1,000 times, but the difference between like good acting and, you know, whatever like that Man Shark movie was is night and day, and that's kind of what it felt like. It felt like you had a couple of real actors and a couple of people that like maybe they were friends with. I don't know. I'd still recommend it. I believe it's streaming on Shudder. It's also streaming on my Plex server, so you can watch it. But yeah, Hellbender, check it out. Gogs.
I watched one thing.
One thing.
And I'm going to start with a pop quiz. What do you get? What do you get when you combine what is arguably one of the worst casts I've ever seen in my entire life with a concept that is completely idiotic, and then you stir it all together for 2 hours and 12 minutes you'll never get back? The answer to that question...
Hang on, pause. Give one more hint.
I mean...
Roland Emmerich.
Oh,
did you watch Moonfall?
I did.
I was going to watch that, and I didn't. I'm sad I didn't.
This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
You said worst casts? I looked at the cast list and I was like, that
Patrick
could be
Wilson
fun.
is in this movie.
Yeah, he's okay in some stuff.
I heard he's getting Fargo season 2, and he's
He-
okay in Little Children.
Okay. Well, so when he's playing against Halle Berry as astronauts, that ain't it, Chief. And then you got Sam from Game of Thrones as like some sort of janitor scientist. That ain't it neither. And then you've got Patrick Wilson's kid, who that actor must have won a Make-A-Wish contest because he is the worst person I've ever seen. There are
He's
park
not the worst
benches.
actor, everybody. He's the worst person.
There are park benches with more emotional range than this person. This movie, they must have held a gun to Donald Sutherland's head to get him to literally wheel out for 3 minutes of exposition. This movie,
Donald Sutherland is in like his Malcolm McDowell phase. He'll be in anything. He doesn't give a shit.
this movie. Are you going to watch it out? Because I won't quote unquote spoil it.
How the hell are you going to spoil Moonfall?
Oh, I could.
Is the secret that we were on the moon? The whole Earth was the moon the whole time?
No, that's better. That's
Ow.
legitimately better. This movie just sucks shit. Like it's
Put that on the Blu-ray.
like the science is terrible. Like no one understands how physics works. Like we're to believe, I guess, the moon has stronger gravity than the Earth, because if that was the case, the Earth would circle the moon. But no one's thinking that. But according to Roland Emmerich's dumbass,
It's spinning real fucking fast. Doesn't it turn out that the moon's a spaceship or something? Or is that a different movie?
Do you want me to spoil it, Alec?
I don't care.
Okay.
Was it the moon filled with venom or some shit?
Moon.
Venom.
So here's what happens.
The moon was made out of cheese.
It was made out of spare ribs.
Barbecue spare ribs.
11 years prior, Patrick Wilson and Halle Berry are out doing a little science mission out in space when a cloud of nanites comes by and sends their buddy ass over tits out into space. And Patrick Wilson gets court-martialed or something. He's now a disgraced astronaut, which I didn't know was a thing.
Wait,
they're all Air Force pilots, aren't they?
Astronaut?
Yes. So then Halle Berry and him have a falling out because she was knocked out through the whole thing. Anyway, this cloud of robot dust heads its ass to the moon and then spends the next 11 years burrowing into the center of the moon. Meanwhile, Sam is fresh out of Maester school, and he's like, I think that the moon's a safer structure. And so that's what him and his group of like hollow mooners are like meeting in like YMCA basements discussing this. And now the cloud of bees has turned off the moon's power source in the center. So now it's drifting closer to Earth. And NASA just figured out this. And now because of that, time has changed on the planet, and they've got to go back to the moon and then like reset. Then you find out the moon was an arc or something. It was like what seeded the Earth. So some civilization thousands of years before the quickening of
I
Sigourney
never thought I'd have to ask this in real life, but how long before somebody would notice in real life that the moon actually moved? Because I feel like they would notice right the fuck away.
Pretty much immediately, wouldn't
they? It took them a couple of weeks.
Maybe they're in the Don't Look Up universe where they all deny science in the name of politics.
Yeah.
Did the guy from the Mighty Boosh, did the moon show up? It's just me.
On the moon.
It's me, the moon.
No. So and then the moon. So this cloud of bees is trying to wipe out all humans because the past humans sent the moon here to create the Earth and seed it with DNA and like overwatch the Earth as like an AI superstructure. And then this cloud of nanites, which was a rogue AI from this far gone group of people that made us.
You're not talking me out of the movie. With
and
the
then
Gogs is doing what he always does. He makes it sound good.
And then the fucking cloud of bees goes in and is trying to suck the core of the moon out, and the core of the moon is a white dwarf star. That's what powers it. And not for nothing, I Googled this. The smallest white dwarf we've ever seen is like almost twice the size of the Earth. So none of that checks
How-
out.
And the moon's smaller than the Earth, right?
That is a true fact. True fact.
Okay.
And then so now since the middle of the moon's getting sucked out like an Oreo, the fucking moon is crashing into the Earth, and then the moon's gravity as it makes a pass by like Oregon
I'm
is like
sorry, but if the moon crashed into Earth, wouldn't that just be it? Like that?
no.
Would be...
The moon is it's in a descending orbit, a receding orbit, whatever it is. It's circling us and circling us.
Oh, so
it's getting
like
closer.
It's like a disco ball spinning,
Yeah.
like a bowling ball spinning into Earth.
Yeah, it's like it's coming around, and every time it comes around, it's getting a little closer, a little closer, a little closer.
Okay.
And now it's literally to the point where it's like dipping into the atmosphere. It's like knocking over the tops of skyscrapers.
Oh my god!
But they're trying to make some conceit that the moon's gravity then becomes stronger because people are getting sucked up towards the moon.
Who wrote this thing?
Roland Emmerich.
He wrote it.
Sean wrote it.
I
He did
believe-
some ghost writing.
This movie is just
Oh, is
and
this
then-
Nate's new book?
it's directed and written by Roland Emmerich, and it is like if you've ever seen people that don't understand how anything works, including interpersonal relationships, science, basic physics, driving, emotions, guns. If you want to watch an entire cast of people be confused for 2 hours and 10 minutes, here you go. I got 25 minutes into this movie and I was like, fuck. And then I was like, I got to see this to the end. I just got to see where I got to know how deep this rabbit hole goes. And it's just
2 hours and 12 minutes.
it's just
That's insane.
it is just and it is and at the end everybody's all like giggly about the fact that they reset the moon. Spoiler alert, they reset the moon and they sent they blasted the AI's dick off with a fucking EMP, but apparently
Did they turn the moon off and back on again?
that effectively, because then as soon as the thing left, the moon's like, oh, I'll go back where it was, and everybody's like, cool. Like for a minute there, they were going to just nuke the moon, which was like, what was the thing? Was like, would you miss it? Was that from Austin Powers?
No,
Yeah.
it was from
Yes, from Austin Powers.
well, there's also that Mr. Show sketch where they're like, "We got to blow up the moon."
Like this movie is just like it is, and like it's oh my god, it's like they use phrases like Q level clearance. And there is repeated scenes of them just worshiping Elon Musk.
Oh,
Like there's
boy.
just so many weird, shitty things. It's like the conspiracy theory. It's like a big like celebration of conspiracy theorists. Like all of us who thought the moon was hollow were right. This is great. Like
Are
it's
they
just,
all Australian?
no, it's just that one dude. But that's just all he represents the whole squad. Like it's just awful. And like Halle Berry is the worst actress.
I mean, she's
Full
kind
stop.
of always bad. Like
But how is she? It's just she's gotten this far just on the fact
she's
that she is.
hot.
She is.
She's very
But so
hot.
is like Denise Richards, and she's not doing nothing.
Halle Berry's hotter than Denise Richards.
Fair, but like Halle Berry, like was she ever good in anything? That's my question to the group.
Yeah, she's been good and stuff. She's good in Monsters Ball. She won an Oscar.
Yeah,
I've never seen that. So I
She's good
can't.
in that. She's good in that. That's it. I can't
Okay,
think
I
of
mean,
another.
I don't know that I've seen a ton of Halle Berry movies. You guys loved her in that last John Wick movie.
I did not. I did not care for that movie at all. In fact, she's the worst part of that movie.
She's not the worst part. The worst part is the fact that they feel they need to stretch this franchise on.
Oh
when
yeah,
they should have had it.
I forgot you and me are simpatico in this one. Yeah, everybody
They
else
should have
liked
had
yeah.
it tied up in a nice little bow as a trilogy.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, keeps coming though. But anyway, so that's it. I watched Moonfall. I did it so you didn't have to.
I'm shocked that didn't end up on the show. That was
I mean,
a movie.
I
that was
wasn't
a movie.
aware that I would have had to had you not watched it.
Well,
That was a movie that as soon as I saw the trailer like 2 years ago, I was like, "Oh, that's a show we're gonna watch on the podcast."
I guessed the name of the movie as a joke because I think you brought up the plot. I was like, "Is it called Moonfall?"
Oh,
And you're
hold
like,
on.
It is.
Yeah, hold on. I got an idea for a theme. Disastuary. It's all disaster movies.
I mean, I love disaster movies
They're all
typically.
bad. Like I can't think
But
of a
some
good-
of them are fun.
Like Twister is fun.
Like I think the original Poseidon Adventure is good.
I've never
That
seen
movie I'll never take a cruise because of that movie.
That's where the boat flips over. Right?
No, you tell me you don't fuck with Volcano, not Dante's Peak.
I've never seen it.
But yeah, this movie, Roland Emmerich, that guy sucks. I think
he's terrible.
Like,
Oh,
on
he
the
does suck.
balance.
I still kind of want to watch Independence Day 2. I never got around
I've seen it. It's horrible.
Well, no shit.
Yeah, it's not fun horrible though.
Oh.
It does. The funniest part about it is it ends on this. Like the last half an hour is basically this big ad for the next one that they never made.
Like this one, this
Like
movie
when we get
comes
to the
in
aliens next time, we're gonna kick their ass. No, you're not.
on my 2020, my running 2020 list. This movie is second from the bottom after Morbius.
Wow.
It squeezed past Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like it is just
The original.
The original. It's that I watched that for the first time in 2022, and that movie sucks. But no, this is it's just Sean.
I watched 2 things. Or no, 3 things.
Whoa!
I watched 3 movies. Yeah.
Hey,
Look at this
I've seen them
guy.
all before, and we've all seen them before, so I'll go through them really quick. I watched T2, Terminator 2, not Trainspotting 2.
The movie. Oh yeah, wasn't Trainspotting 2 actually called T2?
Yeah, it's fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
T2, despite Goggs's revocation of its status as a Terminator movie, is still very good.
Yeah, T2 is fucking amazing.
Yeah, but I do like his hardline stance, and that all the sequels have made every Terminator sequel bad, so the only good one is the first one now. I like that kind of extremism. So,
Join my cult for more hot takes.
Terminator 2 is like so fantastic. Like,
Retroactive trash.
oh my god.
Terminator
And that
2
liquid,
is
that
like,
liquid effect still looks good today. I stand by that.
as far as like dumb shit blockbuster movies go, Terminator 2 is the peak. And it's not even that dumb, but like when you think of a big fucking summer action movie, like that's about as good as it's gonna get.
Agreed.
I watched Into the Spider-Verse, and I'm going to say this, I might have said it before, but I stand by it. It's the best Marvel or DC like mainstream superhero movie, and I don't even know if it's arguable at this point. Maybe Cap 2 is like in the neighborhood, but like what a like easy movie to watch and still like be affecting, and like it's funny, and it hits every tone in the same movie, and it's still like gorgeous to look at. Like I love that movie.
My kids want to watch that movie all the time, and I'm like, yes, let's go whenever you want.
I hope the next one's good.
It doesn't come out to like next year. I was so fucking pissed. Like I was like, does that come out this year? It's like, I got delayed again.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, we've talked about it a million times because me and you saw it right before the Mollies one year, and it like shot way up my list. But just the fucking Oscar Isaac bit at the end, like, is fucking worth going to see the movie by itself. And just like all the performances, like I can't do it on command. He can't do it on command.
And I think like you said it, like how it's gorgeous to look at, but I think like that choice, like that art style, makes that movie timeless. Like I think that's always going to look good, even in like 20 years, whatever CGI cartoons look like by then. Like that, it's kind of like video games that go for more of like instead of trying to be the most graphically like photorealistic thing, they go for like an art style, and I think that keeps things fresh. You know what I mean? Like I think it gives it like a timeless quality.
It doesn't look like anything, and I don't know, man. It just fucking rules. Like it's
soundtrack absolutely slaps.
Just like it's from coast to coast, right? Like butter and toast.
And coast to coast with butter and toast. It's end to end, cover to cover.
Right.
Banger.
That movie fucking rules. Like, and like it makes every other Spider-Man movie look like a big pile of poo-poo. And the last thing I watched is underrated banger, and I think Gogs and I's like one of our sleeper favorite movies is the live action Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, I like that movie too.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah, I was very happy that you liked it. Alec, you haven't seen it, right? Nor do you have affection for the source material at all.
Correct on both counts.
Okay. I think you might enjoy it. Like, it is visually like a stunning movie.
It's fun. It's a fun sci-fi movie. Like, I liked it a lot.
It's one of my most pleasant surprises of all time, because I sat down, me and Sean sat down together to watch it with like, I had I expected to Joan on this thing, and I was like halfway through it. I think I looked at Sean, I was like, I really like this.
Yeah. I was knuckled in to not like this movie because, like, you know how I feel about Scarlett Johansson, but like she's kind of perfect for the major. Also,
great.
like, TJ, what's the artist name that did the manga?
Masamune Shiro.
That guy's like super talented, but I think the fact that this movie steers away from like his obvious like perverted qualities
Oh yeah,
actually makes it even better
I
in
have
some ways than the actual anime.
There
And
is
also-
there's a lot of stuff in the comics that are just like I really like the comic, but like there's
That
stuff
art book is
yeah
fucked up.
yeah I have the uncensored comic and I have his art book, and like there's just like porn scenes like in the middle of nowhere. It's like, what are you doing? Like the story is really good. You didn't need to do that. But, like I don't know, whatever. That is what it is. They're all perverts. What are you gonna do?
Who's all perverts?
The Japanese.
Jesus Christ.
What?
Now just go ahead and keep lumping whole cultures together like that. Racist.
Well, manga artists are all perverts, and yeah, what are you gonna do?
Not all Japanese are manga artists.
I mean,
Incorrect.
I'm pretty sure. And they
I
all
don't know
know
if you've ever seen a Japanese census lately, but under occupation, 100% of the pie chart is manga artists.
Masamune Shiro is a fantastic artist, though. One of my favorites.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, some of that stuff. Like, do I really need to see the major like
They-
fingering
they-
other robots like in the
they-
middle of the scene? Like, I
They
don't know.
fired me from Penthouse because my cartoons were too filthy. Like,
Yeah,
but-
Ghost in the Shell rocks. People that got upset about that is real dumb. Like they're whitewashing it. Did you read
Also-
this source material?
Yeah.
Like her body
Isn't
was
the major
Russian.
supposed to be Russian? Yeah,
Yeah,
and like
it's
also, I know we've talked about this a million times. Like, if there's one people that loves white people more than white people, it's Japanese people. Like
Yeah.
culturally, like
1000%.
in that
Movie did better in Japan than anywhere else in the world. That movie was a
culturally.
huge
I'm
hit
not.
over
I don't
there.
want to offend Alec, but culturally, they fetishize like Americans in the same way that a lot of Americans fetishize Asians, as far as pop culture goes.
What was I going to say? The thing that's nice too about Ghost in the Shell is that like I love like pretty much anything with like the cyberpunk aesthetic, and it's a very good representation of that. Like the anime is obviously, but like I feel like for a live action movie, like it's a very solid cyberpunk
And
kind of.
Also, they didn't spend like a ton. It looks more expensive than I think it was. Because I don't even know if that movie has $100 million budget, and it looks great.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. It's an underrated gem. I'd say.
You get what's his name? Top Dollar. What the fuck is his? Or
Michael
Wincott. Yeah,
Wincott.
and I'm always happy to see that guy.
He's really good in Nope. He's very good in that. Basically plays Quint in that movie.
Love that guy.
Yeah. That's all I
good-
watched besides
movie.
the foosball.
Yeah. Speaking of Cyberpunk real quick, they got a Cyberpunk Netflix show coming out based on the game. It looks really good. It's called like Netrunner, I think. I don't know. It comes out I think tomorrow.
Does like Netflix have like an exclusive deal with CD Projekt Red to just turn their games into
Probably.
shows?
Probably. The Witcher did very well, and this
What was it that-
this
there's a
Cyberpunk cartoon looks really good.
Do you remember the hard drive article? It was like Henry Cavill finds his footing being cast as an emotionless mutant
Yeah.
in The Witcher or whatever.
I watched the one episode of The Witcher and I could not get into it. People tell me it's great. I don't know.
I'm surprised they haven't made a Metro show yet because I heard those books are actually really good.
They are not.
Oh, they're not? You read them?
Mm-mm. They
Oh.
are not.
The games are good. I like the games.
I read the first book. The book it starts strong and it just falls on its face by the third act.
It's like most
Probably-
books.
It might lose something because it's translated from the original Russian to English. So maybe there's something lost in translation, but it gets real janky right at the like when books have jank in them, something went wrong.
Yeah, a lot of times when you read like translated stuff, it gets that way. Like the Battle Royale novel has a little bit of that in there, where it's just
Like at the end of by the end of fucking Metro 2033, whatever it is, I think people have like full on magic and it just gets sort of dumb.
all right. Well, that's everybody, right? Let's get into our feature.
Real quick before we get into the
Go ahead.
feature.
Oh, yeah.
So the Queen died this week,
Shout out.
Not a bit.
Good.
and did you guys see the Rock's tweet?
Yeah,
No.
it was awesome.
What did it say?
God, it's
It was so good.
it's like deepest condolences to the royal family to have lost such a majestic blah blah blah. It's like a paragraph, like it's a heartfelt paragraph, and then at the bottom it's like, too bad she passed away too early to see Black Adam, only in theaters like November 11th or whatever. Oh, it's so fucking good. Every time it pops up on my TikTok, I die laughing again every time I see
The
it.
Rock won me back with that.
So funny.
Did he do that? Did he do that just unironically, or did he do that ironically?
I don't know, and either way is hilarious.
I'm pretty sure it's ironic. I think he knows what he's savvy enough to know what he's doing. I think that was a bit. It's not like what Marvel did. Marvel, they somehow got their claws into Chadwick Boseman's official Twitter and posted the fucking Black Panther 2 trailer or whatever.
Oh, like, did you see? Was it Hard Drive again where they had like the fucking? It was on his tombstone, like Black Panther.
It's like, all right, guys. But yeah,
I want to visit the grave of whoever did the Shadow Man 2 promotion.
Oh yeah, that's
like
right.
somebody had to do that, right? Like win free Shadow Man 2 or whatever by putting it on your grandfather's tombstone. Some weird fucking thing they did.
I miss the 90s.
Yeah.
That game was also awesome, by the way.
I never played Shadow Man 2.
I still got to play the Darkness games. I got both of them. I think they're actually GOGs, and I've never played them.
Those are also really good.
Both pretty fun.
Yeah.
All right. Feature presentation. Time for a rip-roaring tale.
Yeah, I hope you guys are ready. Buckle up for a chuckle fest, because here we go.
Yeah, this was... sorry, guys. It's a little...
Take it down.
It's like a funnier dog tooth.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
It is, though.
Dogs, what happened in this movie?
Smash butt.
Smash cut. Right.
Sorry.
It starts as Stand By Me, and then it ends up Don't Stand Behind Me. It is... So the movie opens, and it turns out I have the Stand By Me joke's notwithstanding, like I have a real, apparently after watching this, heartfelt.
You were about to say hard on.
Yeah, I'm real chubbed up about this. I have a real affinity for like these like kind of flashbacky movies, like in movies
like
that
a Bronx Tale,
like what they do in Goodfellas. Godfather 2, Goodfellas, all this shit.
Yeah.
Like I love when like, you're just hearing hearing the old soundtrack, and it's like them the good voiceover. And someone said in our group, I think Sean said in the group chat, like Michael Patrick's voiceover in this movie is like on point. But anyway, you're introduced to these 4 young men who grew up in Hell's Kitchen in New York. And they're probably I think they said they're all in they're like between 13 and 15, something like that. And it talks about all the, the shit they would run around and get into, the trouble they would get in Catholic school, like the shit they would pull, the scams they would run, and just like, general, just, kids just dicking around, having a fun summer.
Naked ladies at the ice capades.
Yeah, exactly. Like peeping on ladies, just mild, sexual assault or whatever. So now you're also introduced to Robert De Niro as, the neighborhood priest who kind of looked out for these kids and was sort of a mentor and sort of like a guiding light for them. And like, he takes care of them, he looks after them, but he's like a street guy, like at his heart. So he kind of gets it. And he's, I don't know, Robert De Niro is just, I think, amazing in this movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Isn't it weird to see him try?
There's the scene in the church where he's like, give me the clicker. So there's one scene where they've got this little clicker that made all the girls, apparently the nuns, would control the ladies at this Catholic school. By 1 click would genuflect, like 2 clicks would stand up, 3 clicks would sit, whatever.
Genuflect.
So one of these kids gets a hold of it and he's fucking with them. It's like when you're like, if you have a spare remote to your TV and you're fucking with your dad, like it's that sort of scenario. And Robert De Niro comes over. He knows what the deal is. He has the inside track, and he busts him for it, but then he fucks with him a little bit. So it's, I don't know. It's very heartfelt. It's a great scene. But then
it's nice that De Niro's kind of like a around the way. Like he was like, I'm almost a criminal, but I became a priest, sort of.
Right. Like he could have he was on the knife's edge, and he fell that way.
Yeah. And he has this like air of like toughness about him. Like there's a scene later on, I'm sure Gogs will talk about, but like he's like a good person, but like you still wouldn't want to cross him, you know?
Right. He always got De Niro's kind of always had that kind of air about him, which especially young De Niro. But
not in that movie that I watched at the journey.
Not the internship or whatever that is.
Yeah.
So, and you meet some other people. You meet like the main character, basically the main character, Jason Patrick's dad is played by Bruno Kirby. Yeah.
Gotta get that
sort of like
out of your throat.
Yeah, well, it's always there. I should be used to it. The Bruno Kirby is like an abusive dad, but he's like in a weird way still sort of endearing, which is a strange character to say.
Yeah,
but like,
I don't know. He's like the part
I
where
didn't find him endearing at all.
He's like what you picture of just like a dad of that era. He's just like bossing the mother around.
I think in a lot of ways he doesn't know any better. I'm trying to
because if you show any kind of affection toward your children, you'll make them gay. Like the fucking
exactly.
Because there's even that scene later, that great scene where Jason Patrick comes over for dinner. He's like, "It's great to have you here." And then he pays no attention to him whatsoever.
Yeah, I can relate to that scene. That scene hit home for me. It's just talking to your dad and him not really saying anything, and then you're just like, like, yeah, no man, that one definitely hit home. That was I felt that one. But that one, the old cobbles
and the cockles and the sub
cockles.
So so the kids are doing their thing, and they're going through life and going through summer, and one kid gets like beat up by his stepdad. I think this is what TJ and Sean were talking about. This, or not stepdad, some boyfriend of his mom's or whatever, and
close enough,
and De Niro goes and catches the guy on the street. He gives him this great speech about how much you weigh? You weigh about 220, 230? What's he weigh? 80? That's not even a featherweight. How you can get in the ring with that? I tell you what, you touch him again, I ain't 230. But I'll stay. I'm a hell of a lot more than 85 pounds.
But yeah.
He's like, you'll need to call a priest. I mean, that was awesome. Like, I love that. And I don't know. I do this all the time, but I always think about like lesser movies. And I think in a lesser movie, like De Niro literally like beats him up, which is corny as shit. But like him just like threatening him is so much better. Like,
he threats him like the most casual way possible.
It's a very jocular threat, and then it's like, I'll see you at church.
Yeah, right. Because the guy I think opens like, I gave last week or whatever. So these kids, one of the scams they run is to get free hot dogs from the hot dog vendor. And they do that by distracting the hot dog vendor by running away, and then the rest of the kids, then pillage the now abandoned hot dog cart. So they're doing this move, right? And the hot dog vendor's having no part of it. And he's chasing after Shakes, which will later be Jason Patrick. The young actor, also, I don't recognize. But one of the young actors is Brad Renfro. Brad Renfro ends up being Brad Pitt later.
R.I.P. Brad Renfro, by the way. Like, I thought, I mean, we'll get into this, but like, I thought everybody in this movie is really good, but I thought all the kid actors were really good too, which is hard to pull off. Like, I thought they were all like good. So they're running around, they're doing this thing, and they decide, let's steal the hot dog cart. Okay, well, we're stealing the hot dog cart. This guy's not giving up chase. We're going to put it at the top of this subway station and kind of dangle it over the edge. And then when he gets there, we're going to run away. And then his choice is going to be save the hot dog cart or chase us. That'll get us off his tail. Great idea on paper, but when they came to run the play, they pooched it, and they to run the play.
They drop the hot dog cart down the steps, and it just mushes the guy against the wall, just with like hot dog juice and like relish and no ketchup, but a lot of mustard. That guy ends up
jizz for some reason.
Yeah, it's just full
there's some
of
like hot dog jizz.
This guy,
hey, what do you want in your hot dog?
The old glizz jizz.
That glizzy jizz. Think that jizzy glizzy.
Death by glizzy.
So man, imagine getting glizzy to death in Hell's Kitchen. So this guy ends up in the hospital.
Pause real quick.
Yeah.
I already kind of said that I like this movie a lot, but there's one line specifically right here that I fucking hated when that lady's like, "My God, boys. What have you done?" It was very Matthew Good delivery.
It was like off camera, like someone was like, just
Well, I think it was 80-yard too.
It was
like
added.
Really terrible. It's like, why did you like? We get the weight of the scene. I didn't need that. Like, what have you done?
Yeah.
And then like there should be like a small child going, "Give them this cyanide capsule." Like,
You son of a bitch.
you s-
Don't bite down on that hot dog cart, you son of a bitch.
don't bite down on that glizzy, you son of a bitch.
So now, so they get sentenced to the Medville School for Boys or whatever. And
This is where the fun begins.
this is where the movie gets really lighthearted because then they learn a lot about themselves. No, they don't. They learn a lot about Kevin Bacon. And a
That
group
big
of like perverts.
oafish kid that like beats him up in the beginning. That's
Super
somebody.
familiar,
Yeah,
right?
he looked very familiar to me.
Was
That-
he in like Remember the Titans or something?
I
Like,
tried-
Alex, the resident Remember the Titans scholar.
I
Was he in
tried
that
to look
movie?
him up, but I couldn't figure out who he was.
So anyway, they're here. They're in basically kid prison, and it sucks. And you're introduced to Kevin Bacon's character, who is the head guard, and
He's
his
supposed to be from Maryland, right?
yeah, he's
Is he-
got a Baltimore accent like crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I-
he is certainly the head guard.
Ooh.
And so now, so now,
Oh, I didn't write the fucking movie, guys. Come on, this is a comedy show.
Oh, also, I guess we could say this now. So this is based on a book, and the writer basically says that all this shit really happened to him, but
Yeah.
like he can't back it up. So
Well, the
I
New
don't-
York prisons were like, nope, never happened.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. It
if
makes
I was
it-
him, I wouldn't be backing
that little.
up.
I don't. It's not a stinger, but that little title card at the end when they said that, and then I looked it up on the internet afterwards. Like, oh god, it makes the movie that much worse.
It makes
Like,
it worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the kids are enduring mental, physical, physical, and
It's physical.
it's gonna be hard to laugh through this sexual abuse from this cadre of guards. So TJ found a way to do it.
There's a really funny line he has where he's like, "What's that on your fucking necklace?" Or,
Yeah, it's
what's
like-
that on your fucking necklace? Oh, it's a Mary mother. Guy's like, I don't give a fuck whose mother it is.
Yeah.
And
Like-
and the perversion from Kevin Bacon starts immediately
Well, he's
because
an absolute creep.
I think we might have skipped it, but like the first scene he's introduced in is like he makes the kid strip, and then there's this like shot of his reaction, and you're like, oh, like this is not good. Like he just like I know he's an awful character in the movie, but Kevin Bacon's really good in this role. Like he is a fucking like you just want him.
hate him.
Yeah, you want him to rot. Like he's the worst person, but he's, it's funny because Kevin Bacon is like, he's so likable in like a lot of other movies. Like he's so good in this. Like it's just
I mean, it's a testament to how good an actor he is, right? Like,
absolute monster.
And how
yeah.
bad a musician he is.
yeah.
Yeah,
So all this keeps going on. There's a scene where, the kids kind of have, I guess, in the middle of it, there's sort of a longest yard moment where the kids get to like play touch football with the guards, but no one understands what that means.
Oh, it didn't touch football.
And they are
No.
just like annihilating each other. And they recruit one of these other young men who's very strong and fast to like,
and he's
join-
black. It's part of the story that he's black.
yeah.
It is
You can-
relevant, yeah.
You can say it. It's not
Well,
like
it's funny because I've seen this movie like 5 times, and every time I'm always like, "Oh, Rizzo, that's a funny name." Like, and then they're like, "Yeah, Rizzo, the black kid with the Italian name." I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, that was like a point."
Yeah,
The kid Rizzo, he's also been in a
Oh, he's
like the
definitely-
actor played that and
I
played him was
recognized him too.
very
yeah.
familiar.
He's Wink from 8 Mile.
That's
Oh, shit.
it.
My name is Wink. That's a Simpsons reference.
So they beat the
Ignorant
shit.
what?
They beat the shit out of the guards, and they get to have their Shawshank Redemption. We felt like free men moment, but that doesn't last very long because the guards beat the shit out of all of them, and they kill the one kid.
Yeah.
So
You don't-
Rizzo's
it's off screen. They don't. They
Can we give like a special shout out to how good these kids are for how
Yeah.
many how much work they got to do? There's that great scene in the hospital. He's like, "How you doing?" He's like, "Well, I survived." And the kid goes, "Who didn't?"
yeah.
Oh,
Like
God.
that's a hell of a way to deliver that.
Or just this scene, like the scene later on. It's probably just about to happen, where they're just talking about like what they want in life, and the littlest kid is just like, I just want a night where I can sleep,
Yeah.
and it's like, fuck,
It's
like that's,
heartbreaking.
and the kid's delivery is so fucking good, and he's like, it makes it even more painful because he's so little, like he's
Yeah.
he's the one that grows up to be the
The
blonde haired guy that
mustache one. Yeah,
shoots.
the blonde. Yeah.
not
Not Billy Crudup.
Doctor Midnight, which or
That fucked me up. I didn't realize it.
Doctor
Like,
Manhattan. Well, I know it's
Yeah.
Dr. Manhattan. Yeah. Yeah, he looked nothing like. I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute. That I kind of like recognized his face, and then I was like, that's not him.
Well,
Yeah.
Billy Crudup must be huge because I looked up how tall the other guy was, and he's like 5'10", so he looks like he's like 5'4" in the movie.
But yeah, the kids are so good. Like
they
really are good. And like R.I.P. Brad Renfro, like that kid was solid.
He was really good in this movie.
I said, the whole like there's not a weak performance in this whole movie.
So then the kids, they persist on, and Jason Patrick's character is gonna be the first one to get out, and his farewell gift is like a horrible evening of torture and rape, and then he gets to go home and deal with it, and then the other kids get out and they get out and deal with it. So now we're revisiting everybody when they're older. Now there's two things I glossed over earlier, which I shouldn't have. One, these four boys are tight with a young
Not
lady.
Anymore.
Yeah, nice. With a young, with a young mini driver.
You can't just softball him in there like that, Stan.
I can't throw him up like that. And so a young mini driver who is still their friend and still loves them all very much. And one thing I glossed over was when they were younger, running around doing scams and stuff, they were actually under the employ of a local gangster who had like the most hardcore revenge story of like all time in a flashback within a flashback.
I love
Benny
that
fucking rules.
I love that flashback too. That flashback was great.
We'll probably I don't know if we'll get to it later because it's such a small scene, but there's that scene where he's out there with Jason Patrick, and Patrick's like, I know you like pigeons so much. He's like, I like anything that doesn't talk.
Yeah. So now the boys are out, right? And they're growing up, and they've, this has fucked them up pretty bad, but they've all they're doing whatever they're doing. So, the little guy and the other kid, I forget what his name was, Tommy and John, they're basically fucking gangsters. They are like murderers. They are out here doing dirt. Jason Patrick's character Shakes is like a wannabe reporter journalist, but he's kind of, half failed at it. And Brad Pitt's character, Michael. He is like an assistant attorney general or district attorney.
I love Brad Pitt in this movie, but like he hasn't mastered hiding his Oklahoma accent through his New York accent. It is very curious.
His accent kind of falls in and out. I will say he's still good in the movie, but
he's fantastic.
I love a young Brad Pitt. He's not doing this. He's not talking with his hands and doing all that, but he's doing Brad Pitt stuff. He's doing So one day, John and Tommy are at their local bar hanging out, and they're just doing whatever. And it's a neat scene because they sort of flex how hard they are, because they go to this bar, they see these two suits at the end talking Reaganomics, and he's like, I want to buy them a drink and tell them we don't talk politics in this bar. And
no. What he says is, we don't, Republicans are not allowed in Hell's Kitchen, so they can either have a political conversion or they can shut up.
That's what it is. And the two guys see him, they respect it, they shut the fuck up. Like the rules of the neighborhood are known. And then John goes and
when you
takes
see two guys dressed in like I don't know what the Italian version of a Canadian tuxedo is, but when it's black on black with a black past your waist leather coat, it's a fucking problem.
They looked like in the beginning of Rocky, when Rocky's like the enforcer, this kind of outfit.
They're all at Don Vito Corleone's funeral. So he's going to the bathroom, and he walks past Kevin Bacon fucking sitting there eating dinner in this fucking bar, and he kind of pauses for a second, and Kevin Bacon addresses him, and he's like, do you want something or need something? He's, no, not right now, or something. He's kind of
that's such a great scene. Like, can I help you? Nah, not right now.
You're not right now. That's a great line.
But what's interesting is I love this scene. There's this guy's a fucking tough dude. It's just been established from the scene prior, right? And there's a flash of terror in his eyes.
Yeah.
There's a flash of he's back to you can see him just relive it, and then he kind of comes back into focus. Then he gets John, and they come back over there, and they basically lay in and interrogate him. They're like, "Hey, you remember us? Hey, you know who we are?"
I read from this scene too that I don't think Kevin Bacon does remember. I think he's done it so many times with so many people.
Right. That's the horrifying part, is he's mashed so many people at this point.
He's like, I made you tougher, but I was kind of waiting for a Ronan the Accuser, for me, it was a Tuesday, whatever kind of moment or whatever.
See,
it was.
I think like that's like the scariest thing about his character because like, you know, he doesn't like, he's not like, he's a scumbag and he's just as ashamed. Like, you know what I mean? He's full of like the same kind of like doubt. And he's not like arrogant like a bison where he's like proud of what he's done. He's a piece of shit. Like, look at him. Like he's obviously like, you know,
He's eating meatloaf in a dive bar or
he's
whatever.
He's not doing great.
Yeah.
And it's like he's just exists and he's done all this shit and he's like there's no like he's just a piece of shit. Like I don't know.
I think it's a great little bit of character building too, is they still kind of view him as this like this huge figure when they're like, I thought you would have been something better, you know what I mean? Because they're just little kids, so they think like, you know, the authority is like ultimate. So like it's like
you're an adult. Like how are you here right now, right?
Right.
So they fucking give him a whole raft of shit, and then they blow him away. You know, in exactly. Let me tell you about something about this movie. It has some of my favorite emotions in it, such as vengeance, and it is.
Well, this movie's all about vengeance.
They fucking shoot him in the dick, and then they shoot him. I think in like both legs, both shoulders, the heart, and the head. They just unload on this motherfucker.
Oh yeah, they give him the old Hugo Stiglitz underneath the fucking table.
Yeah, and then they like pay. They say sorry for the mess. They pay for their beers, and they leave. So now this sets into motion. What I think is wild about this movie is it sets into motion a revenge game that they've had plotted for a long time. It's just happening faster than they had hoped. So Brad Pitt's like, all right, I'll take the case. And it becomes this whole thing where it's like, hey, this local neighborhood guy's going to prosecute our guys. What the hell? And then they have to get out to King Benny, who still runs the neighborhood real fast, and go, do not have Brad Pitt killed. Here's the plan.
Yeah.
I thought this was like really interesting because like he ostensibly plays both sides, kind of, but
he purposely throws the case, but he does it in such a way to make sure that there won't be a mistrial.
It's very clever.
But you feel the tension with him because this can go wrong in millions of ways.
Possible way
and then they hire Dustin Hoffman, who is incredible in this movie.
He is
what happened? He got like Me Too'd, right? That's why he's not around anymore.
Oh,
I think. But man, he's so good in this fucking
he is
movie.
So subdued as like this like bumbling like failure of like just the shame on his face. Like
I got a drug problem. It's
nothing big, just a little.
He is so fucking good in this movie, and they hire him so that people can't be. I guess like so. I don't know, just to make it look even better that this verdict was, you know, unappealable or undebatable. So Brad Pitt's out here pulling the strings. He's like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna expose the business. We're going to get people on the stand. We're going to expose this house for boys. We're going to get you two off for not killing this guy.
Racing.
He's nice. He's dead. And then, by the way, we're going to unleash this other like load of evidence we have against this other guard who turned into a crooked cop and this other guard who owes money all over town. We're going to get him waxed too.
Yeah.
So all these wheels set in motion. Jason Patrick is basically acting like the go-between to make sure everything's going. And then the last piece of the puzzle they need in this thing is they need a rock solid. So they get some of the witnesses that were in there to say, you know, we weren't there. You know, they recanted, and then they get other witnesses. They basically write a script for Dustin Hoffman to read.
Dude,
to tear these other witnesses apart.
When he's like he loses the page and Brad Pitt's like mouthing like the
the tension was so. I was like waiting. I had seen this movie 4 or 5 times. I was waiting for Dustin Hoffman to fuck it up.
But on the other end of it, it's very interesting when Dustin Hoffman starts getting on like a roll. Like it's like such a roller coaster.
They do a good job of setting him up earlier. It's like, this is the guy you used to be, right? And it's like, yeah, but I'm not that guy anymore. And he starts to kind of like get his groove back a little bit.
When he starts interrogating the guard, like it's like really good. Like he's, you know.
And the panic in the guard's eyes that Brad Pitt's not objecting to this line of questioning, like is so good. And it's just
like the judge is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I don't know.
So like, and the other, I guess, all we need to make this clear that all of this hangs on the fact that all the juvenile records have been scrubbed, demolished.
They said they get rid of the juvenile records after 7 years.
You can't connect the dots that all these kids knew each other, or all these kids were at the same institution
This
together.
is also a plot that only works in the 80s because you couldn't do it now because of like all the social media history of everything. But
Yeah.
So effectively, so Brad Pitt gets this other guard on the stand, ruins his life because it deserves to be ruined. He gets his two buddies off.
Watching this guy break down is like, I thought, one of the best parts of the movie. Like the guard, like his, he starts kind of stone faced, and then they just wear him down. And I think, like, I don't know, this movie,
like, he wants to confess.
Well, that's
right?
just it. Like, this movie is very human because, like, he's full of guilt, and like he breaks down because like he's ashamed of who he is and what happened, and like it's so, I don't know. Again, like I go to the lesser movie thing, like where every villain is like this mustache twirling psycho, or like a, you know, this guy is evil. Obviously, he's done horrible, evil things, but he's still human, and like he's, you know what I mean? Like that is a very human reaction.
Like you almost buy like his late stage like face turn, you know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, like he's a Sunday school teacher, he's like really but like there's no coming back, you know what I mean? There's no redemption for this.
Well, this movie is all about like what I took away was like it's all about like it takes the teeth and claws away from the monsters at the end of the day. Like these things that scared the shit of you as kids are just sad and pathetic and like and like not, you know, it's just the abuse of the power at the moment, but in the grand scheme of things, they're not superhuman. They're not.
But I don't know. To me, like I think that at least what I took away from it is that like the actions of these people are so horrible that they transcend they transcend the past because they followed those guys for the rest of their lives.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? And ultimately to the two of theirs deaths just being on the street. And then I think like this movie does like a really good job. You know, we talk a lot about watching stuff with like a modern lens, but like I think this movie, better than pretty much any movie I've ever seen, it really does delve into, you know, stuff that's talked about nowadays, how like male sexual abuse victims like don't talk and they can't come to terms with what happened. And of course that happens both genders. I'm not saying it's, you know, exclusive, obviously, but like it was interesting to watch them without like, you know, obviously without saying a whole lot, but there's just so much pain in all these characters. And I thought that was like palpable in like so many scenes without them just explicitly saying or monologuing.
No, and they even do the where, because Minnie Driver had dated two of the boys, and she's talking about Michael, and it's like, he would never, I can never get close to him. Every time I touched him, and like she still doesn't even know.
Well, she doesn't find out until like the trial. She didn't know it.
The scene where Brad Pitt says, "Tell Shakes to tell the father what was De Niro's father Bobby everything. He knows what that means."
Oh God!
And she's like, "He already told us." Like the look that crosses Brad Pitt's face in that scene is like something else. Like there's
such a great human moment in that scene with Patrick and Driver where she's like, "How come you never asked me out, Shakes?" And it's like, you know, I didn't think you say no. She's like, "Well, what about after John?" He's like, "I think it was Tommy's turn." Then she's like, "Oh, fuck yourself!" It's so good. And she's like. And she's like, "What do you want, Shakes?" And he's like, "I need you to give me information." And then she gets pissed off because, like, you know, she's kind of like, "Just ask me something." You know what I mean? Like, connect with me. And he's like, "I need this." And then he's like, "Well, what's the matter with you?" Like, do you feel? And this kind of, I wanted to kind of wait till the end of this when it gets to the diner scene. But like, this is a tough movie to pull off because you really feel the weight of their friendship. We see a lot of movies with like group dynamics that are just like you don't buy that they're friends. But like at least I do. I really buy how heavy their friendship is. You know what I mean? Like what that means to them.
So at the end of the day, basically Brad Pitt throws away his legal career, right, for revenge. He gets his buddies off, and then like a year later, they can finally all get together. I think it was a year is what they said.
Yeah, I think it was a year.
And they all get together, and they finally get to have like a moment of just like, hey, you know, we beat this thing. We overcome it. And then they sort of like a tragic, you know, Coach Carter coda.
Yeah.
But
also Stand By Me.
But you're right, Sean. It's like a really like warm scene of like when Brad Pitt comes through that curtain to the back room of that diner and like
it's such a minor thing, but the way she hugs him and then like she does this little thing where she grabs his collar with her hand as she's hugging him, and it's like that's such a human moment. Like it's such a, again, really small thing. Also, she has the, this is, from 1996, so she walks in there, all the guys are hugging. She's like, "What is this, a fucking gay bar?"
Yeah.
But no, that's Sleepers, and
Yeah.
I also want to touch on this. I don't know why this scene mattered to me so much, but I loved it when they send a letter to King Benny to explain what the plan is, and he's like smiling and lighting it on fire to make sure no one can ever figure this plot out. And he's like, "All right, boys, let's go." Like
I mean, there's so many great scenes. Like we didn't even touch on Benny meeting Rizzo's brother, Little Caesar, where he's like, "You're gonna give me $8,000," and he's when are you gonna pay it back? I'm not.
Yeah.
Like
what's worth more than money? Like, I give you your brother's killer. Like, it's
I'm a sucker, and I'm sure Gogs is too. I don't know how the rest of you guys feel about it, for the airport execution.
Yes, it's so good.
Yeah, dude. Just with just hearing the noise of the engines go by, and the guy just in the light. Oh.
Also, special shout out to Jason Patrick's jawline, which it might be the most chiseled jaw in movie history.
So, can we talk about Jason Patrick?
We're talking about how handsome that guy is.
Like, I love him in this. I love him in Narc.
Yeah,
Narc's a good
fantastic.
movie.
We need a Joe Carnahan month.
Yep.
Hell yeah,
Joe Carnahan.
But what, that guy deserved better.
Joe Autumn, that I don't know. Cardamom, I don't know.
Joe Carna Halloween. No.
There you go.
Nope. Alec, what do you think? You haven't said much.
It was fine.
Just fine.
It's too long.
It was long, but I didn't feel the.
I think it was 2.5, wasn't it?
It was 2.
Yeah, it was like Blade Runner 2049.
I noticed that before I watched the movie. I was like, "Oh man, I picked a long one."
I've seen this movie 6 times, and I think I just figured out that the Puerto Rican convenience store owner is supposed to be gay.
Oh, really?
The fat guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. Like I got uncles like that. I'm like, I can't tell if they're gay or just like really Hispanic. So like, there's something he says in the movie. I can't remember what it is, but I don't know if he says honey or queen or sister or something like that. Also, shout out to a movie about a group of kids with a female friend that they don't all have to fuck.
Yeah.
Look at you, Stephen King. Yeah. and no mystical retard or whatever the other thing is that Stephen King loves to use.
Yikes!
So
you can't say that, Gogs.
I can't say mystical.
You can. He's talking about the rapper.
I can say it is mystical. TJ can say mystical.
That's right. Okay. Back to Alec though. Just so what didn't work for you? What did work for you besides the length?
I told you this. The score pulled me out of it.
That's so funny. I didn't even really pay much attention to it.
I noticed. I guess I probably noticed it about the time that the music stopped. That the actual pop song stopped.
Yeah.
It sounded like it was like Edward Scissorhands or like the original Batman. I was waiting for it to be like da-da-da-da-da. Like it was like Danny Elfman-esque. And I guess John Williams showed some restraint because it didn't have the building French horns and the big crescendos, but still it was distracting at points for me. I was like, this does not tonally match anything going on in this movie.
Yeah, it seemed like a bizarre choice, right? Like, why would you call John Williams for your drama about boy fucking, right?
Why bother paying John Williams for this?
Yeah, I'm sure he ain't cheap.
You could have got anybody to just throw together some shitty dour piano music that would have probably done a better job.
Hire the guy that did the Rainmaker or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, John Williams was sitting there composing this I don't fucking know, man. Is Superman in this?
Now that would be a movie.
So you want me to make a soundtrack for a movie with no superheroes or space ninjas
or rising
or sharks
or rising action? Real quick, while I'm thinking about it, the actual use of "Give Me Some Lovin'" was great, though. They used that
100%.
perfectly. I thought that was a very good scene, a good use of the song. Since we got to stay on theme a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought
Try at least.
it was a very good use of the song. I was relieved to hear it in the movie.
I really liked the performance by the guy who played John, Ron Eldard, who
he
doesn't do a lot of stuff.
Another guy I didn't
like,
recognize.
He was in Deep Impact. He's the astronaut that gets blinded. He was in Black Hawk Down. He's one of the helicopter pilots that the snipers try to protect. He's been in tons of stuff, and I don't know. I've always thought he was a good actor in everything I've seen him in, but he's just never quite gotten over the hump, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, he looks like an American Tim Roth.
He's really good. I thought he was really good at this. Like you said, I thought everybody was good in this.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't quite do it for me. Maybe I just don't like Barry Levinson.
Yeah, I mean, I hated him last week, but I liked him this week. I can't believe this is the same director.
I'm shocked.
It blows my mind.
He's
especially since we talked last week about how tonally Good Morning Vietnam is a fucking disaster. This movie juggles tone incredibly well.
Well, it's good that Father Bobby wasn't played by Robin Williams then.
Hey, what is temperature? Everybody, hey, here, what guys?
And then he did, oh no! I was like, oh, please don't tell me.
I don't know what there's I don't know, man. We talked a lot. We talked more about the movie in the synopsis than we usually do.
Yeah.
There's just, I don't know. There's a lot of little parts to this movie. This is just to me, it's just very, very well made.
They do a really good job of juggling all the shit that's going on at the same time. Father Bobby's arc, is he okay with, he's you want me to put my hand on the Bible and lie to God?
Yeah, and even I really liked his cross-examination with the basketball tickets. I love that exchange.
That was
and I loved the dynamic between him with De Niro and Brad Pitt, because again, Brad Pitt has to make this look real, but he's still he doesn't want to discredit Robert De Niro. It's awesome.
Brad Pitt's coming at him so hard in that cross-examination. And I think he knows where it's going to end up, but he's got to sell it. He's got to make sure that everyone thinks he's doing everything he can here. It's a brilliant revenge story.
Also, the fact that this movie pulls off, because this has been fucked up so many times. The first half of the movie is kids. The second half of the movie is those kids grown up.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to do. They really fucked it up recently in that It sequel. That first It movie is pretty good, and that second one, ooh boy. But
shout out to Cameron.
I don't know, man. There's it's fun. Well, let's get into Five Knuckle Shuffles. Fuck it, let's go. Alec,
6.
Said it very fast. Alec,
6.
Okay, 6.
I'm not looking forward to the inevitable, now that we've watched 2 of his movies in a row, Barry Levinson month.
Oh,
his list of movies is really all over.
Levitover.
Did he do Bicentennial Man?
Yes.
Did he No shit. Oh
no.
no.
Didn't Steven Spielberg do that?
I think he might have produced it.
Hold on.
He did other Robin Williams movies. He did Man of the Year.
I don't think I've seen that.
Is that the one where George Washington comes unstuck in time? I don't know what.
Something like that.
Oh.
But then he did Wag the Dog, and I remember loving that movie.
I remember liking Sphere. And
Bicentennial Man was directed by Chris Columbus.
Oh. The Gentile Barry Levinson.
$100 million for that movie. And it made 87.
He did Toys with Robin Williams.
He made Toys. We just talked about Toys, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
He was the director of Toys and Rain Man.
That is good.
Yes.
Interesting career, that guy.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. He also made The Bay, which is...
Oh, I like that a lot, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I thought
it sounds like it would be awful.
No, it's cool. It's like a found footage movie that's all about the Chesapeake Bay, this invasive species comes in, and it's basically a zombie movie, kinda. I don't know. I thought it was really good, actually.
Huh.
I really enjoyed.
Just reading the synopsis a few minutes ago, I was like, that sounds atrocious.
I remember. Now I saw this like years ago.
It came out like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I watched it. It was on Netflix. It was like back when Netflix. I want to say back when they first really started streaming only. But I remember liking it. I remember thinking it was a pretty good like found footage movie. And I don't generally care for those.
No, you don't. Gogs.
It's gonna be a 9 for me, dog. I don't know. There's something I don't think I can. I think we said it a lot when we're talking about the review, but there's like so much acting in this movie, which is a dumb thing to say about a movie. But there's like,
can I make a supposition of why you like it so much besides being a good movie? Because it's something you mentioned briefly. It's set up like a mob movie.
Yeah,
it's a mob movie,
absolutely.
Like almost like 100%.
Yeah, it really is, and like, but like, there's just like there's so much that's done with just a look or a glance or just something unspoken that just translates into you get it. Like you can read a lot of emotion and immediately know what someone's thinking or feeling. Kevin Bacon is an absolute fucking creep in this movie, but he's doing a great job. Like everyone's doing a great job in this movie. The kid actors, which I feel like it's hard to wrangle the kid who plays Shakes, because he's effectively the main character. That kid actor is awesome. Like I don't think we said that like when we're talking earlier. It's really well made. De Niro, it's some of his like most like nuanced work probably. Brad Pitt's great at it. Jason Pat, everyone's great in it. It's well directed, and it's shocking that it's the same guy, the same deft hand that made Good Morning Vietnam made this. I don't know, man. This movie's dark as hell. Like you can't just like watch it all the time. It's not here like you're not gonna pop it on. Like, hey, we're having a party. Put sleepers on in the background, but like you gotta game recognized game. The movie's fucking solid, and it's got like it is. I think criminally underrated on like Metacritic and stuff. I think it's like hanging like a 50% or something. So I don't know. I'm a big fan. I think it's really well done. I think the fact that Jason Patric's acting career didn't take off like as much is a real crying fucking shame. Sean.
It's a 9 for me too. The only thing that keeps it back is it is very long and like. Unless you're like Lawrence of Arabia or something, cut the movie down a little bit. Like I didn't feel like I wasn't bored, and I've seen this movie a few times, but like 2.5 hours, it's too much. Like
and you could have trimmed it. You could have trimmed it.
You could have cut a lot of the convenience store like do the right thing monologue to camera type thing.
Yeah.
Like it is like a little bit distracting, but beyond that, man, like it's just it's a demo reel for acting. Like it's fucking like. There's that scene in the court where Dustin Hoffman's cross-examining McManus, and he's like, well, I heard. He's like, I'm not asking what you heard. I'm asking you what you saw, what you were present for. And then, he's just reading, like, in this monotone, and he just keeps hammering. I was like, man, Hoffman's really fucking good in this movie. And, he's like, he's talking to Benny, and Benny's like, if you fail, the dirt nap. And he's like, dirt nap. I've never heard that expression before. And it's like... life is risk. Life is a gamble. I'm sorry, what did you say? Life is a gamble. Just like everybody's so fucking strong. And like, it's like the neighborhood really comes to get like, it's like a community protecting their own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm for that. And Minnie Driver's like, does a great job masking her accent in this movie. She's really good. And like, they tanned her up pretty good too, because I legit thought she was Puerto Rican when I was younger
or something. Yeah, I thought she wasn't.
She got that like Deborah von Valkenburg in the Warriors thing going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like I was telling the boys, I was such like a film boy that I bought this on DVD when it came out. Yeah, I'm gonna go down and get Sleepers, and it was one of the DVDs, if I recall, that was like the cardboard box with the plastic snap over.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I got a long history with this movie. But no, I think it's a really excellent. As far as like procedurals goes, it's way up there for me.
Yeah.
Teagles.
It's a 9 for me, dog. This movie is fantastic, top to bottom. I agree with Sean that the only reason it's not 10 is a little too long. You could have trimmed down a few scenes here or there. I think you get it down to 2 hours. It's a 10. But even still, like it's just so good, and the way it's written, like Sean just said, it's a lot like a mob movie, but I'd say too, it's like a crime. It's like I love we talk about like heist movies, but I like intricately plotted like crime movies. They do this all the time. And this movie does it so well. Like this
is the Ocean's 11 of kid fucking.
Or what's that fucking
Put it on the box.
The fucking movie Anthony bought me, The Friends of Eddie Coyle. Have you all seen
that movie? Fucking rules. Yeah,
it reminds me.
I think it got a Criterion release recently.
Yeah, I have the Blu-ray.
Is that Freakin'?
I believe it is. Yeah.
Okay.
But it reminds me of something like that, or like it's just so good. The characters are so rich. Like all of them feel like. I feel like I know all of these characters.
Yeah, and Billy Crudup gets like 4 lines, but you know exactly who he is.
Yeah, and you mentioned it briefly, Sean, but like the sense of place in this movie is incredible. Like I feel like, they make Hell's Kitchen like its own character almost.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. This movie does such a good job with its world building, and like to harken back to something Skog said, like the subtleness in so many of these scenes is just so well done. Like I don't know, I guess like I'm so used to movies nowadays just being like overwritten and like verbose, and this movie is about like so many like just kind of nuanced like things, and the way like character interactions play out. It's just really good. It's a master class in like it's just everything. Like it's also like I didn't even talk about it. It's also
teetering on a neo-noir. Like the way that the voiceover set up. Yeah.
Also, like I don't think we really mentioned it, but the movie looks really good. Like it's shot really well. Like the sequences like that are supposed to be unpleasant, but like the sequences of the sexual abuse are done like incredibly well. It's terrifying and it's disgusting, and like it's very effective. Like I think that not that those are, they're not good scenes, but they're well made, and they really convey the horror of the situation that these kids are put into, and it makes you hate the guards and Kevin Bacon even more. It's fantastic. It really is. I can't believe I've never seen this before.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen this.
Really?
But it's a banger. It's fantastic. Again, like I think. Gog said it. This is a movie that I don't know how many times I'm gonna like revisit this, because it's a tough sit, but man, it's really really good. It's a gem. It's fantastic. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for me. I really enjoyed it. Like Sean said too, man, De Niro, like what a powerhouse when he wants to be. Like his like the weight that he carries in this movie is just, he's amazing. Everybody's amazing. Like I don't know, this is like next level stuff, but yeah, fantastic movie. Whose pick is it next week?
It's Sean's birthday pick, is it not?
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Oh no.
I'm teetering on the Takashi Miike Yakuza movie, but I don't think it's going to be the one about the video game Yakuza. Like
Like a Dragon.
But you've seen that, right? It's not great.
It's fine.
I don't want to pick something that's fun. I want to pick something like totally bonkers. So like.
Didn't we do Yakuza Apocalypse on the show? I feel like
yeah. I don't know. Give me a day or two to ruminate on it.
Surprise!
It's gonna be weird, but it's not gonna be boring because the Blood of Heroes last year was such a fucking disappointment.
Yeah, but it looked like it could have been good.
You'd think, yeah.
I feel like that's a movie where you talk about it, you're like, man, that sounds awesome, and then it just wasn't.
Yeah.
What was it called? Like Ballad of the Juggers or something?
Yeah, ballad.
Yeah.
Some song for the Juggalos.
All right.
I might pick Big Money Rustlers.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. It'll be goofy. Whatever it is I'll pick. It's gonna be stupid.
Nice.
All right.
Stupid in under 90 minutes, please.
Yes. And violent.
Yeah, definitely.
So probably a Takashi Miike movie. So dig in.
All right, everybody. Got you
boys.
anything to plug?
Not Moonfall.
All right, everybody. That's the show. You know the drill. Eat your own
boys.
ass. Look out for Kevin Bacon. look out for anyone in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, head on a swivel out
You know
there,
why
kids.
this movie is forgotten? Because Hollywood's like, yeah, let's not shine
Ooh,
a
how
light
we
on
let
this.
that one get through?
Yeah, right. Like, this didn't get nominated for anything. I wonder why.
The Academy takes umbrage to Sleepers.
Yeah. They're like, just get that movie where like the silent movie about the guy that likes making movies, the artist. that one will do.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Love you.
Keep it 100.
Alec is gone.